Going to finish. There's a lot at stake, not only being senior night, but we're playing for a league championship. At least a tie, or if not one team winning it with one game remaining. So there's a lot at stake. It's a very big game against a terrific opponent. That brings a lot of defensive challenges to us. As Napier scored 31 points, their center could be the most improved player in the league. And certainly they have the #1 3-point shooter at the forward position. So they have a lot of weapons that need to be stopped. It poses a big challenge for us. And just a great afternoon with 4 guys that have just given an incredible amount to our basketball program. We're very excited to honor them.
Coach, not just 4 guys, but 4 guys that maybe nobody knew when they got here, and now many won't forget. What does that say about their legacy?
Yeah, I think it just shows you that sometimes it's not always the Wiggins and the Jabari Parkers and the guys that get so much publicity. And none of these guys were heavily recruited. One was a walk-on, and the other 3 were not heavily recruited, and turned out to be a group of guys that won a national championship, multiple Big East championships, now playing for a league title here as well. Back-to-back Final Fours and a national championship. So it just tells you, there are so many different ways to bring a championship contender, and it's exciting to be part of this.
How much has Russ changed you as a coach?
I don't think he's changed me in any way. I think he's made it a lot of fun for me.
You put up with more?
I just think with Russ, he works hard. Like all I ask for is that everybody works hard, plays for the right reasons, and with him, whether it's in every program, whether it was Providence with Dow Wright, whether it was Kentucky with Antoine Walker, everybody's got their peculiarities that you deal with, and with Russ, you just have to give him more latitude at the offensive end.
Russ said he's been underestimated his whole life. How much of that do you think helped motivate him to become what he's become?
Well, when you're in high school and you're 5'10", 5'11" at the time, 135 pounds, there's a reason why people would miss on you. He 135 and being short and small, and then he grew to 6 feet, and obviously is now whopping 165.
What do you see from these guys as they go on through life?
Well, this is a special class because they're different. There's although Russ has an ego and Luke has an ego, it's the right type of ego. It's not the ego I call where I always tell them it's ego edges greatness out. They don't have that. They always want to prove something. Luke and Russ want to prove something. Stephen Van Treese and Tim, they're just having a good time playing the game of basketball.
When it comes to the NCAA tournament, some of these guys have seen a real low first-round exit to Morehead State and then winning a national championship. How do you think they're going to take these different experiences to lead during this month?
I think every experience is unique amongst itself. I think the first-round loss propelled them to do much better the following year, but they also understand sometimes injuries are part of the game. And when Preston Knowles breaks his ankle in the game, it's just part of it. But I think it did fuel them to get better. And then going to a Final Four made them extremely hungry to go a little further the following year.
How much has Russ done the things that you told him he needed to do this year to be a...
Oh, I thought we talked about shot selection. We talked about his improving his assist turnover ratio, his field goal percentage. So all the things we've asked him to do, he's done in a big way.
Do you have a favorite moment with Russ?
Actually, that would be an impossibility. There were so many. Really, there were so many. Just in a given week of practice and games, and he's just such an interesting character. from late night texts, late night videos, to, you know, he makes me laugh all the time. You know, even coming to me right before the big game at SMU and everybody's tight, and he says, Coach, I'm going to give everything I can, but I'm sick as a dog, and he gives me a big hug, and you know, I said, what the hell are you hugging me for? If you're sick as a dog? And I'm up all night thinking I'm going to throw up, I can't get to sleep.
Rick, you were asked at the beginning of the year if Russ had anything to prove to you, and you said he's given me 2 Final Fours and a championship. He doesn't have anything to prove to me. With that said, did he show you anything this year that you weren't expecting to see out of him, or maybe something that surprised you?
Not really. You know, I expected him to have a great season, and he has. You know, he always makes. I think he makes practices fun all the time. I think he's just a nice human. You know, when you coach a person for 4 years, as I have these 3 guys and then Luke, and not one of them is late, not one of them misses curfew, not one of them misses class. It's kind of an extraordinary experience coaching all 4 of these guys. Never a disciplinary thing to any of them at any point in time. They're always nice to the fans. They're always nice to all of you. They're always courteous to everybody they meet. If you ask them to go to the hospital, they go to the hospital. You know, it's very unusual in this day and age to find 4 unique guys like this.